I sent him $10,000. Let me just say that up front. No soft introductions, no poetic build-up. That's the truth, the part that still keeps me awake at night. A $10,000 heartbreak. Not from a man I met in person, not from someone who courted me in the traditional sense. No. From a profile picture, a gentle voice, and 1,000 promises whispered through my laptop. My name is Sandra Walker. I'm 60 years old and I live in a small town outside Dayton, Ohio. I've worked as a librarian most of my life, raised 2 children on my own after my divorce, and learned to be content with quiet things: a good book, a cup of tea, the feel of warm sunlight on the porch. But it gets lonely. It hit harder once the kids moved out and I retired. The house was too quiet. My cat, Peanut, was affectionate but not much of a conversationalist. And let's be honest, when you reach a certain age, you start wondering if anyone still sees you. Not just physically, but emotionally. Do you still matter to someone? That's how I ended up on a dating website. It wasn't anything scandalous, just one of those for mature singles platforms. I uploaded a picture of myself in the garden, wrote a profile that talked about my love of mystery novels, crosswords, and baking banana bread. I didn't expect anything. Maybe some harmless conversation. Then he messaged me. His name was David Hallstrom. At least that's what he said. His profile photo was a clean-shaven man in his early 60s with silver hair and kind eyes. He wore a collared shirt, stood in front of a sailboat, and had the smile of someone who had known love and loss. His bio said he was a widower, an architect who had lived abroad and recently moved back to the States. He was looking for companionship, someone to talk to over coffee and sunsets. It felt safe, familiar, like someone who understood what life was like on this side of middle age. He wrote with warmth. Not overly romantic at first, just thoughtful. He asked about my favorite authors, what I liked to cook, whether I preferred the beach or the mountains. I found myself waiting for his messages like a teenager again. We chatted daily. Then we started emailing. Then texting. Then voice calls. He had a soft accent. He told me he was originally from Norway, raised in Seattle, but had spent the last decade working in Dubai. Said he was preparing to retire soon and wanted to return to the US permanently. That's when the flirtation began. He'd call me Sunflower or my reason to smile. He said he felt safe with me, that I reminded him of the way his late wife used to make tea and talk about the world like it still mattered. He said I had the most nurturing soul he'd ever encountered. And I believed him. 'Cause I wanted to believe him. Looking back, it didn't feel like a scam. Not at first. When David said he was having issues wrapping up a business deal overseas, it sounded stressful but believable. He explained it over the phone, his voice laced with frustration and weariness. I'm trying to finalize this last architecture project before I can come back home, he said. The payments are caught up in customs. I've already submitted my documentation, but I'm short on processing fees. It's humiliating, Sandra. I never thought I'd ask this. I was silent, heart thudding. He paused. Would you be willing to help me? Just a short-term loan. I can pay you back the moment I'm stateside. I swear on my wife's memory. I just need someone I trust. I should have asked more questions. I should have stepped back. But he'd spent weeks slowly weaving himself into the quiet spaces of my life. Good morning texts, calls before bed, little compliments, stories about his dreams of buying a small lake house in Kentucky and planting tomatoes with me in the backyard. He had built a world for us. And when someone offers you warmth in a cold life, you lean toward it, even if your gut whispers wait. I don't have much, I said. But I can send 500. He thanked me as if I'd saved his life. He even emailed me a receipt the next morning, some generic-looking document that claimed the funds had been accepted and would be processed soon. I didn't think twice. It looked official. A few days later, he told me everything was nearly done. He just needed to clear one last fee before they could release his earnings. I sent another $800. Then $1,200. Didn't happen all at once. That's what people don't understand. It wasn't like I wired $10,000 overnight. It was a slow drip. Each time the ask was just a little more urgent, the timing a little tighter, his language more desperate but still wrapped in sweetness. My love, I'll pay you back the moment I land in Ohio. I can't wait to take you to that pie place in Yellow Springs you told me about. Only you could have seen me through this. You've given me something I thought I lost, hope. The last transfer was for $5,000. I had to dip into my retirement account for that one. I sat on the edge of my bed for an hour before sending it. My hands trembled as I entered the bank information. I even whispered out loud, "Please let this be the last time." And for a moment I thought it was. He said he booked his flight. He sent me the confirmation email. A real airline. A flight number. "Next week," he wrote, "we'll finally be together. I'll cook for you. You'll read to me." I cried. I actually cried from happiness. And then, 3 days later, he vanished. The morning he was supposed to board the plane, I woke up early. I'd made coffee. I even picked out the outfit I was going to wear to the airport. Not that I was meeting him there, but it felt like I should mark the day. I was nervous in a sweet, jittery way. Like something long dormant inside me had started fluttering back to life. I texted him. "Safe travels today, sweetheart. I can't wait to see your face." No reply. I waited a little. Told myself maybe he was going through security. Maybe the signal was bad. Maybe he was just tired. An hour passed. Then 2. I sent another message. "Let me know when you land. I'll have dinner waiting." Still nothing. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. Then the flight time came and went. I looked up the airline and typed in the confirmation code he had sent me. Flight number not found. I tried again. Checked different dates. Different times. Nothing. That was the first time I felt the full body chill. Like my skin knew what my heart refused to admit. I searched his name online. Nothing. No LinkedIn. No articles. No architectural firm. I reverse searched his photo. It showed up on a Pinterest board titled "Handsome Older Men." The name under the picture was not David Hallstrom. I remember just sitting there at my kitchen table in complete stillness, staring at the screen as if it might change its mind. My tea had gone cold. Peanut jumped onto my lap and meowed, but I couldn't move. He was gone. Blocked my number. Deleted the dating profile. Emails bounced back. Contact info he gave me for his assistant no longer existed. And just like that, the spell broke. I was 60, heartbroken, and $10,000 poorer. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. I wanted to cry, but the shame clogged my throat like smoke. How could I, a smart, educated woman, fall for this? How did I let someone I'd never met into my heart, my finances, my life? I didn't sleep that night. I paced the house like a ghost, turning off lights that were already off, opening drawers I didn't need, checking the front door even though I knew no one was coming. The shame was unbearable. I couldn't even bring myself to say the words out loud. I've been scammed. Felt like admitting I was old, vulnerable, and naive, all the things I never wanted to become. The next morning, I went to my bank. I spoke to a manager named Kimberly, a kind woman with patient eyes and a firm tone. I brought a folder with screenshots, wire receipts, and the fake airline confirmation. My hands trembled as I slid it across her desk. She looked through it slowly, carefully, and then said what I already knew deep down. "This looks like a romance scam, Mrs. Walker." I flinched. The words felt like knives. She explained that I wasn't alone, that these kinds of scams had exploded in recent years, especially targeting women over 50. that these criminals knew exactly how to say the right things at the right time. I filed a fraud report. We contacted the wire transfer company and flagged the transactions, though Kimberly was honest. The chances of recovering any money were slim to none. Once funds leave the country, it's like throwing them into a black hole. I also contacted the Ohio Attorney General's office, filed a formal complaint with the FTC, left a message with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. And then, I collapsed. Not physically, but emotionally. For 3 days, I didn't leave my bed. I couldn't eat, couldn't look in the mirror. I kept playing his voice messages on repeat like some twisted form of torture. His soft "I love you" in that charming foreign accent, the same voice that led me to drain my savings. I missed someone who never existed. And worse, I missed who I was when I believed he loved me. Eventually, it was my neighbor Jean who pulled me back from the edge. She knocked on my door with a bag of groceries and a firm hug. She didn't judge me, didn't lecture, just sat on my porch and listened while I sobbed and confessed everything. "I feel so stupid," I whispered. "You're not stupid," she said. "You're human." And that was the moment the healing began. Took time. Weeks, really, before I felt like I could breathe again without guilt sitting on my chest like a weight. But little by little, I began to pick up the pieces of myself. Jean helped me get back on my feet, brought me meals, sat with me during long silences, and encouraged me to speak to a counselor through a local senior center. First, I didn't want to. What could they tell me that I didn't already know? That I was careless? That I should have seen the signs? But the therapist, Carla, was warm and kind. She didn't treat me like a cautionary tale. She treated me like a person who had been emotionally groomed and manipulated, because that's exactly what I was. She said something that stuck with me. "They don't steal your money first, Sandra. They steal your trust, your hope, your loneliness. The money just follows." That sentence became my anchor. I joined a support group for scam victims. Mostly women my age, some widowed, some divorced, some just lonely like I had been. We cried together. We laughed nervously at how similar our stories were. And we reminded each other week after week that healing wasn't weakness. It was resistance. I even spoke at a local community event hosted by the sheriff's department. It was terrifying standing in front of that crowd, telling strangers how I was duped by a man who didn't exist. But when I finished, 3 women came up to hug me. One of them whispered, "I almost sent money to someone last week. I thought I was the only one." That moment made everything, the pain, the shame, the financial loss, feel like it had a purpose. If you're listening to this and thinking, "I'd never fall for that," please don't be so sure. These scammers aren't just after your wallet. They study your heart. They read your silence. They know how to sound like safety, like love, like hope. And they move slow. They earn your trust one soft word at a time until you don't even realize you've handed over pieces of yourself. So if someone online starts saying all the right things a little too quickly, if they avoid video calls or always have an excuse for not meeting in person, if they suddenly need your help with just one thing, please, stop. Talk to someone you trust. 'Cause no real love will ask you to empty your bank account. And if you've already been through what I have, know this. You are not stupid. You are not worthless. And you are not alone. You can rebuild. And you can still be loved by real people in real time. I know because I'm doing it. One day, one truth, one step at a time.